Hi, today I'm going to give a quick update about some interesting and a bit surprising results. I made two more batteries. I made them using the style that I outlined in my last video. So they look like this, very thin packages. They use tape to seal it up, two graphite electrodes, and then the powder on the inside separated by a layer of tracing paper. The electrolyte I used was 1 molar salt water solution, and the powder that I used for these was a mixture. It had 5 grams of sugar as the main carbon, 5 grams of salt as something to help the microwave work better, a microwave susceptor, 2 grams of graphite powder, 50 micron. Now, I'm thinking that that's really what's kicking the effectiveness of the microwave up into high gear at this point, and I may not even need the salt anymore, so that's going to be another experiment. 1 gram of urea for the nitrogen to try to kick out of some of the oxygen in that area. And then I added one more thing because I had to change more than one thing at once. Sorry. I added 1 gram of garlic powder. Kev had indicated earlier that that was an interesting additive, so I tried an extra gram of garlic powder. I made 2 units. I made this one and this one. This is what it looks like right when you test it. It has the stiffeners, the plastic stiffeners that I print on the 3D printer. And then I clamp it down to get a nice seal, not a seal, but a nice pressure on the plates, bring them into close proximity. This one you can see is labeled NaCl. This is the one that had salt. I did not rinse the salt out of this one. This one labeled no, I did rinse the salt out. It had no salt. Also, you'll notice that it has the plus signs on one of the 2 sides, and that is because I measure using a voltmeter. I measure the voltage without doing anything, without charging it, without doing anything. I measure the voltage right when it starts out, and that way I kind of know, my guess is this is kind of how it wants to work. And so then I mark that as the plus, and then I use that plus in all the future charging. The surprising result that I got was the action of these 2 batteries was almost identical. Rinsing out the salt or leaving it in appeared to not make a difference. I say appeared because I'm realizing there's another variable that I didn't control well for. Neither one of them worked as well as the original one with just salt, urea, graphite, and sugar. Adding the garlic did not appear to help. Neither one of them worked as well. Now I need to circle back. I need to try it without the garlic again and make sure that that's the variable that's being affected. What I had was that the rinsed version, the no salt version, its first run was about 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 59 seconds. After waiting half an hour, its second run was about 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 58 seconds. This guy, I tested him second, so he was sitting around for about an hour, and that just gives time for everything to soak in. So before even the first run, there was about an hour or so. His first run was 6 minutes and 14 seconds, and his second run was 6 minutes and 48 seconds. So the 2, are well within the limits of this technology, within the limits of what I can test and how much how much variability I would expect to see from unit to unit. So I can't say that rinsing out the salt made a difference. It did make one difference. Rinsing out the salt drastically reduced the amount of powder I had to use in the future experiments. I started with 28 grams of powder. And by the time I rinsed out all the salt, first I cooked it, and I lost a lot that way. I went from 28 down to 16 just by cooking it. And then I went from 16 to 7 grams after rinsing. The other one, the other batch, I had 28 grams to start, 2 cups worth, two cups, 5, 5, 2, 1, and 1. So 14 grams per cup, 2 cups worth. It went from 28 grams to 16.5 grams, about the same. And then I had that much powder, so I didn't have the loss of the extra 9 grams of powder. Very interesting. Have to think about it. I have to do some more testing. The looks of the two surfaces were similar but different. The rinsed out section, the rinsed out type was a grayish, more grayish. The other one was more black. And the blackish one, when it dried, it had little specks in it as if that's where salt had gathered and crystallized again. I don't know. Maybe that then melts and you get these little holes down into the active material that give it more surface area. Maybe it's maybe it does make a difference, but it's a self-correcting difference. I have to try it and find out. The thing I found out, though, is one area that I have to improve on is that I realized the coating on this one and this one were drastically different, that this one was thicker. I need to get more robust. What I've been doing, I've been taking the powder that I want to put on the battery. I've been adding 1/10 by weight of the Titebond 3 glue, PVA glue, but it's a waterproof style. And then I add water, distilled water, and mix it up until it gets to be a inkish-like material that I can paint onto a surface. But I didn't measure the water, and so I had two different types of water, two different amounts of water. And so this one ended up being thicker than this one. And in the coating, I could tell that it was thicker. So I've got to get a little more rigorous with that and measure the water and be consistent with that so that I can be sure that that's not a variable that's changing. So I also changed the packaging, and that could change it as well. So I need to use the original formula and do this package and make sure the package hasn't changed. The other thing I changed was in the original experiment that worked the best so far, it cooked in the microwave for 13 minutes. That's a long time. With these, I cooked for 7 minutes. And I'm hoping to be able to use a reduced amount of cooking time. It will really make a difference, especially when I'm running with my classes and I have my students and we have to do a whole set of these. The difference between 13 minutes and 7 minutes is huge. Now, when Robert Murray Smith baked his carrot, he used a different thing to enhance the microwaves. He used a zinc chloride. I was hoping the sodium chloride could take that place. It appears that the zinc chloride is a lot more efficient than the sodium chloride is. It's a lot stronger susceptor. But the graphite may be just as strong or stronger. Now, one thing that Robert Murray Smith did differently, significantly differently, is he only cooked it for 4 minutes. And it was fine and plenty. And he cooked it at half power. That becomes really interesting to me because I had more things break. Even at 7 minutes, I was using these ceramic cups and I had 4 cups break. All 4 of the cups broke. One of them pretty spectacularly during the cooking. The others just had a crack that it fell apart later. Now, I did the cooking for 7 minutes, and then I let it sit in the oven for 5 minutes before I opened it up. I'm thinking that it's cracking during the heating up period, not during the cooling down period. And I've heard a couple little cracking-like sounds. I also have heard the plates underneath. I had 3 of those crack, and I've been using just plain old ceramic tiles. 25 cents at Home Depot, so nice and cheap. But I had several of those crack, and I could hear the cracking while the cooking was going on. So I think it's just getting too hot too quick. I think the ceramics can take the heat, but it can't be that fast. And so maybe I need to go half power for a little while and then boost it to full power. Maybe all I need is half power. It probably depends on the carbon that I'm cooking. All sorts of variables to investigate. But I thought I would post you on my progress, and here we go. And I am understanding things. The big surprise this time was it didn't appear to make a difference whether or not I rinsed the salt out afterwards. And if that's true, that saves me a whole step. It saves me getting a wet and dry time step, about a day worth of savings, if you will. So it'd be great if I don't have to rinse it out, but I do want to I'll continue to test that and to watch that because I do want to make sure I get the best results. So here we go. I've got lots more things to try, and I urge and love your suggestions of things to look at and try. And there we go. I'll keep you posted as things go on. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.